He's a monster. Oh, he's a monster.
Look at the size of that thing.
Yellow belly, is it?
Look at the size of him. Today I've headed back out west. I'm at a spot that I have been to before, but I only stopped here for about 10 minutes. And we got a few yabbies last time I was here, so I thought it warranted coming back out and having another crack. I'm not going to say where I am. I reckon a few people will recognise this. If you recognise it, leave a comment. I'll give you a hint. Starts with the number 1. It's probably too easy of a hint. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread the traps right out along here. So trap number 1 going in. It's not terribly deep there, but as we know, they don't need it terribly deep. Trap number 2. We're up to trap number 3, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to make this out. But there's some massive yabby holes on that other bank. There's one right in front of us there, and it'd have to be 3 or 4 inches across. Oh. I want to get that over there near them yabby holes, I reckon. And I'm seeing the same thing over here. Along that other bank there's some massive yabby holes. So I'll try and get it into the middle, I reckon. So I've got all those traps strung out along this hole. I've got them strung out probably over 120 metres, just evenly spaced. And the last one is at the very end of this hole. I'm just looking back this way. And this hole does run further down. Right there where it narrows up, there's a big fish. I'm pretty sure it'd nearly have to be a carp. We might even go down and have a look quickly in a sec. And I'll just give you a bit of a rundown. I've come down to this big old gum tree to sit with the line. It actually looks ideal to be sitting with the line. There's roots and stuff going out into the water. You can imagine when the water's full, it's sort of up to here. So all this would be underwater. Be that much habitat, it's not funny. I'm not seeing a lot of yabby holes, but I reckon they'll be all up in the hollows of these tree roots. Oh, we've got something having a go at the rod here now. And I'm going to have to get onto them pretty quick, because they're going to get me out in amongst those tree roots, and that'll be the end of it. Doesn't feel... Oh, he's not a bad one. He's a good sized one, actually. And what I've done with the rod, I've only just sat it down here fairly short, because again, I don't want him to get tangled in the tree roots too much, but he's a nice one to start with. It's only been a couple of minutes. Not bad for a start. If they get better, I'll be happy. And pretty well straight up, that rod's going off again. I can see what's going to happen here. I'm going to be one after the other, I'd say. Oh, he feels pretty decent, this one. Feels like a good yabby, actually. He is. Monster. Oh no, I've got 2. Oh, that one nearly took me bloody rod in. I was just fixing my camera up. I see my line starting to straighten out. You're going to flick straight back into the net, that one. There's some good yabbies here. I'll just keep going in the same spot while I'm getting them. We might move around a little bit later. Another 2, actually. I'm getting one after the other at that tree down there. But what I've noticed, where it narrows right up, there's been a fish down here swirling. So what I've done, I've made my bait a lot smaller, and I'm going to sneak in here quietly and see if we can put the bait on top of him and see if he'll eat it. And I didn't bring any bait for fishing, so it's only a little bit of liver, but we'll see how we go. He's been there for a good 5 minutes or more. And I'm not going to get too close. He's still there. I'm going to stay right back here. It's landed right right near him. See him down there. Something's grabbed the line, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely not that big a fish that we've seen. Well, that feels like a good sized yabby actually. I thought it might have been a smaller fish, but it's not. It's a big yabby, and I didn't bring my scoop with me. I'll come down here after this fish. We'll have a look at him, see if he's worth going back and getting the... Oh, he's a monster too. I wonder if he's going to hold on. He's an absolute beauty. My scoop's right back down there at the tree. What I'll do is I'll bring him up slow. You beauty! Absolute monster. Well, he's not an absolute monster, but he's a nice yabby all the same. So I've been chasing those fish around. They haven't wanted to play ball. I'll have to bring some worms out here, and I don't think it's any great loss anyway because they're only carp and most likely spangled perch. There could be the odd yellow belly in here, but I seriously doubt whether a yellow belly is going to take a bit of liver. I'll put that rod back out just as I turn the camera on, and it's going off already. So we'll hang around this tree for a while, see if we can get a few more decent ones. There's got to be monsters in here, because some of them yabby holes are like that round, and it takes a big yabby to dig a hole that big, and that line is really straightening out now, so we'll check it. And although I'm seeing a lot of carp, well, not a lot, but I've seen quite a few carp up sucking along the banks, spangled perch have been jumping. I haven't actually had any trouble with the spangled perch smashing me line. Maybe because there's so many yabbies in here and I'm probably in more of a yabbying spot. God, this yabby here's going off like a fish. Just as I started talking about it. It's not a fish, it's a yabby. Oh, he nearly flicked out of the net. He was a bit of a lively one, that one. And he's borderline too small, I reckon. Let him go. Let him grow up till next year. He's probably a good average size yabby for an average spot, but I know there's going to be monsters in here. Look at that. I'd only just let that yabby go, and there's definitely something having a crack at it again. Ah, busted him. I think this is one of the big ones. I'll take me time. He's dragged me up under this. Look at him swirling around there. This is a monster. He's dragged me up under this tree a couple of times. Oh, he is too. Look at him go. He's a monster. Oh, he's a monster. Got him too. Yes. He's a lobster. And I reckon it's this fella here. He's dragged me up under this tree 2 or 3 times and snagged me up. And that's what we've been looking for. He's actually biting me with one of his legs now, and it's he's actually got a bit of strength in it. But I reckon this fella's bit on it 2 or 3 times, and what he's been doing, he's been dragging me straight up under that tree. So I've just got that monster, throwing the rod back out, and there's something else on it straight up, and it feels reasonably decent again. This time he's taking me out. Oh yes, it's either another good one or a couple, but the way it's pulling, it just feels like there's one. Another monster. It is another bloody big one. You beauty. Another good one. We'll get him straight in the bucket. We'll keep on to him because the big fellas have probably come out. Oh, look at the nippers on that. There's that monster fella. Look, he's sitting there waiting to pounce. Now this isn't a tiny esky, and he's nearly as wide as the esky, that fella. So I reckon we'll have a check of these traps. It's been a good hour, probably a little bit over actually. I'm going to drive the ute along and get them because I've got that esky full of water now. We've got a few monsters in there, so I've loaded up with grass. And hopefully the traps have done half as well as what the line's done. Yep. Oh yes. There is quite a few in there, and there's one absolute bloody monster. Check that out. He's an absolute beauty, that one. He's not too bad either, he's nice and clean. There's 2 in here actually. I didn't see that fella. And that fella there, although he is an absolute beauty and he's fairly clean, I can feel he's a bit soft. So we're going to let him go. Yeah, we'll let this soft one go. What I've found, there's no point in keeping them when they're soft because the actual meat is all soft and generally not full of meat anyway. Although he had a really big nipper on him, it's probably not full of meat. So we end up getting 10 out of that trap and a couple of really nice ones, and the rest of them are big yabbies. They're just not monsters like this. So we'll keep all these. Second trap coming in, and I reckon it's probably the third and fourth trap that's going to have the big ones in it, but you just never know. There's quite a few in here again, and there's a couple of decent ones in here, but again, they're not bad sized yabbies. This fella here, he's not an absolute monster, but he's not a little tacker either. So I'll check these ones for eggs and we'll get these in the esky. And I want to keep a few today because we're going to have a bit of a feed. So we're up to the third trap, and this is the one where I reckon we may do all right. You never know, I guess, but that bank across the other side there is the bank that's got them really big yabby holes. They're like 4 inches. But them big yabbies could be already gone, never know. Trap 3. Oh no. Yep. Oh, look at that. Give him a shake off. Holy dooly. And as I suspected, this one here has done the best by far. That is loaded with big ones. I wouldn't say absolutely loaded, but you don't get many more big ones than that in a trap. Once you tend to get about 10 really big fellas like that, all the rest, they don't seem to keep going in there. I've got you on the stand, so I'll take it off the stand. I'm not going to be able to get these out one by one. We'll have a quick look at all of them. And have a look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 10 in there. And they are all monsters. Look at the size of this fella. So I've got 2 of the bigger ones out to give you a look. They're all roughly about this size. There's probably 2 in there that are a bit smaller. But have a go at that. You don't get much better than that. And I'll tell you what, we're filling the esky up with monsters today. That trap there is a nice trap full of lobsters. We've got trap number 4, and I reckon we're going to do all right this one too. But just because of all the yabby holes and that along this other side. Oh. Yeah. And we certainly did. I want to try and get this one out because he's a nice one. Check that out for a nice yabby. Certainly done all right again. Couple of really nice half clean ones. We got probably another 10 or so. Felt like a lot of weight in that trap. And we'll have a look at the yabbies that we got, just for a bit of reference. Absolute beauties in here. Look at that. And I think there's probably, I haven't actually counted them, but there'd be a good 40 or 50 at least. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave them in this tub. There was actually clean water in this. I'm going to keep changing the water out with fresh rainwater until it's all clear. Probably a couple of days, I reckon. So that water's cleared up reasonably well. The yabbies have actually cleaned off a fair bit. You can see them a bit better in here now. And I think I counted 40, a bit over 40. And for today, I'm going to pick out 20 of the big ones, or biggest ones. And And what I'll do is I'll blanch the tails and get them peeled. Probably cook the nippers all the way through and peel those. And I think Eileen's going to cook something up, so we'll come back then. So we're back in the kitchen. Today we're going to be making some yabby sinigang. What's it called? Sinigang. Yes. First of all, what we've got here is about 20 of those big yabbies. I've got the tails and the nippers. And what she wants to do first, which she's given me the job to do, is just to sear them in a hot pan.
Because there's no shell.
Because it's normally made with shrimp, and it's normally made with the shell on. And all I've done is blanch these tails. Probably 3 parts cooked them more than blanched. And there's no shell for the seasoning and extra flavour and whatever. So we're sort of adapting to with what we got. So we're just going to sear them in a really hot pan to start with. And I've been told to add a little bit of salt and pepper to taste, which is probably just a little bit of salt. And I won't go too heavy with it. And I'll just flip them around in there and just give them a quick sear. And I want to be a little bit careful because I've got those nippers all nice and peeled, and it took me bloody ages to do, and I kept them all whole. So I've just given those a quick sear, really hot pan with some salt and pepper just to give them that bit of flavour that they need. So we've got the master chef in the kitchen. She's not that confident, and what we're doing here, it's probably not completely authentic because we're just working with what we got. What have we got in there first?
That's onion.
Bit of onion. It's probably half a quarter.
Just half.
A half of a, you know, just an average sized onion, white onion.
The tomatoes.
We've got how many tomatoes?
I got 1 medium-sized tomato.
So we've got 1 medium-sized tomato, and we're going to saute that on a really high heat. And she just said we normally put radish in there. And what she's just added then is
Snake beans.
Snake beans. How many of these is in there?
I did put 2.
And I just kept one of these snake beans to give you a look, because a lot of people wouldn't be too familiar with the snake beans. They're a really long bean. We've got a vine out the back, and we've got 1 vine, and you get off 1 vine, you can pick what, 5 of them a day, something like that. Like they're really high yielding, but they're not a sweet bean. They're a really sort of a bland, hard, woody bean that really needs to be cooked.
This is 1.5.
There's 2.5 cups of water in that. So you probably don't want to go all at once. And there was 2.5 cups of water, but we're just going to make it to play it by ear a little bit. So instead of adding water, I think what they normally do is use the washing off the rice, because they wash the rice before they cook it. And I think that's got a fair bit of starch in that in it, which would probably make it a bit thicker. Is that right?
Yeah, but the thing is we already cooked the rice before.
Yeah, we already cooked the rice, so we're just going with water.
I've got, what's this?
We've got 1 full cayenne pepper.
Yep.
You could probably use with whatever chili you like. It's just a big cayenne pepper.
Just put it there.
Because that's what we got.
I don't slice it. Just...
And not sliced, just whole, straight in there.
Okay, we'll just cook the vegetables.
And we'll just let them cook down for a while.
Sometimes they actually mash the tomatoes. I don't know, they want to taste the tomatoes like.
So the more you can cook the tomatoes down, the better, because it gives the
flavour.
Gives the flavour into the dish. So we'll leave these to cook down for what, 5 minutes?
As long as the snake beans is cooked, it'll be.
So yeah, probably. I reckon we'll see how long it takes anyway. And we'll come back. I'm just going to give you a better look in this pan. It actually looks pretty good. You can see all the flavour and that coming out of those tomatoes, and we'll just cook them off fairly high heat, and basically until those snake beans are cooked, which Could be 5 minutes, could be
Nearly
3.
cooked, 'cause we still need to put the yabby for maybe I don't know how many minutes.
So she just said once the snake beans are nearly cooked, not fully cooked,
Yep.
because we're still going to add our seared yabby
And other flavorings.
and a few other things yet. And while this is cooking down, we probably should add, we are going to forget a lot of things here that we meant to say that we didn't and we'll realise afterwards. But a lot of people add radish into this dish. What else?
Okra
Okra,
or eggplant.
eggplant.
And I like my sinigang with what do you call it? We call it what's that? Kangkong. I don't know what's the English term for that, but
So we can have some King Kong in there if we like.
Kangkong.
Kang Kong.
Yeah, in our dialect it's called tangkong.
I think Tung Kong's a bit like water spinach.
Yeah.
So our string beans or snake beans, I call them snake beans, she calls them string bean.
Balatong.
A balatong. Once our balatong's just about ready, which it is now, what do?
He added
We
main ingredient.
Now we add our magic ingredient, our seared yabbies.
The yabbies. Let's go.
And I'm being gentle with them because I want to try and keep those nippers as whole as possible. So we got our yabbies in there, and it's starting to look pretty good actually. So-
Okay, now we need to put our, if we have shrimp stock, I mean, we call it ginisa mix, sinigang mix, that's what it's called. But I forgot to buy it from the Asian shop. So I'm gonna use this one.
Now that's, what's
Secret
in that,
recipe.
yeah, what's in that satchel there is actually a secret recipe, we're not allowed to tell you.
Recipe, no, can't, or else you'll be able to,
That's the secret family recipe, so if you want that, you got to pay for it.
I won't put too much because it's not much
Yeah, I
in
think
it.
that little satchel there is pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah,
And it's already got a fair bit of flavour in there, so
because the yab has already salt and pepper, we don't need to put any more.
what else we got going in there?
That fish sauce.
We got a little bit of fish sauce, and how much of that do we want? Just a few drops,
Just to taste,
Just
however you like.
however you like it.
Yeah.
And
I'll
it's,
just do a
that
little
fish
bit.
sauce is pretty powerful stuff, so you don't want to go
Yeah.
too heavy.
Just,
So she's going to have a little taste test just to make sure it doesn't need anything added to it. And I'd probably say it needs more pepper, but what do you reckon?
did you put much salt in there earlier? No?
A little bit.
We need more.
We need more salt,
A little bit more.
and we haven't added the end ingredient yet either. I'll have to take that into account.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want your yabby overcooked. So I'll just do...
You don't want your yabby overcooked. I think I
Final
do want my yabby overcooked.
You?
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Do you wanna...
I'm only
Try.
joking. You cook it the way you want.
It'll be chewy.
A bit chewy, is it?
It'll be chewy.
Oh, it will be chewy, right.
A little bit more of this.
Well, however you want to make it.
Okay. You reckon that yabby will be... I
Yeah,
think
that
they're ready.
yabby will be definitely
Okay.
cooked. It was 3 parts
So
cooked.
now, I'll turn it off.
Yeah. That yabby, I probably went a bit more than blanched with those. I sort of 3 parts cooked them.
Okay, so last, you put calamansi at the end to give it a bit of sour flavor.
And you get all the seeds in there with it.
He used a fork. Look,
When you fall asleep in class.
you just catch all the seeds with a fork.
So we're putting 2 full calamansi's in there.
On.
Just squeeze the juice out of 2 full calamansi. And the trick is you slice them against the grain.
Yeah, because you want the juice to come out.
It makes them a lot easier for the juice to come out. I would normally slice them with the grain. But she asked me to slice them, and that's what I done, and I got in trouble, so now I know.
You got in trouble. And that's ready.
Okay, yay!
Done. You want to have a
Look, here comes the pelicans.
You want to have a look?
So we've got it dished up, and it actually looks pretty good. She's probably outdone herself.
Look at this.
And
Acidic
it
flavour.
smells bloody nice and tastes bloody nice because I had a bit of a taste of it. And what you normally do is have a bit of rice with it, but these pair are not having rice.
Having rice.
Neither am I. So we'll have a taste test and see what you reckon of it.
I'm gonna taste the yabby.
It's probably a little bit spicy, but it's not too bad. The only spice that was in there was out of that pepper, but in that packet, which probably wasn't too bad.
Nice, Ate. Ate liked it. How about you? It's hot. It's too hot. just chew little by little, like little bits. Look, Ate. Ate's eating the biggest one. I think that's the biggest one.
They're all pretty big.
I still like it, even though it's spicy.
You like it?
How about this one?
I'm gonna drink.
Nice. And I'll have a go. There's a nice little nipper there.
Why is
Yeah, that is bloody nice actually. And we've got to mention to Noel over there in the Philippines, he wanted us to do yabby adobo, but Eileen wasn't too keen on it, and neither was I really, because adobo is really, like, if you don't know what adobo is, it's a really, really strong flavour.
It's not for seafood.
It's not generally for seafood, where this dish is. So, no, sorry, we may do an adobo. We're getting late in the season.
But not yabby.
But not yabby. We might have to go and hunt a pig or something and do a proper adobo. So Noel, thanks for the idea. Got her in the kitchen, cook something nice. This synagogue, what is it?
Dad.
Sinigang.
Sinigang is bloody nice. Anyway, we'll leave it there for a video and we'll catch you on the next one.
Good one.